diversity is our strength is the biggest load of BS you could ever swallow.
Let's do that on a surgical team. You need a life-critical surgery. Diversity is our strength. Let's pick diverse people. Nothing in there is including their skill set, their training, their history, what they've done, who they were trained by. I don't give two craps how diverse they are. I want to know how good they are. I couldn't care less.
We will celebrate the ethnicity and the cultural ethnicity that people come from and the heritage. That is beautiful. You leave the culture behind of your country if you are legally accepted into this country. We need to get really good at assimilating so that you can learn our culture.
The fact that we saw all this coming and how reactionary all of it is.
You want to help people, but you can't help people when you open your country to everyone who needs help, and now you're swarmed by everyone who needs help, and you no longer can help anybody. Welcome, citizens.
We are live. Good to see you guys. I've been bumping into a lot of citizen watchers lately.
It's awesome.
It's very cool.
Love it. We are appreciating the growing support. It's fun. It's just a slow build, kind of our passion project. And I appreciate you guys being on the journey with us. Lots going on. Jeremy and I were at a wonderful leadership prayer breakfast this morning in Calgary, where Mayor-elect, there's a
large
going
one,
on
1,000
for Calgary.
people probably there.
Yeah, over 1,000, I think. It was a huge room. Oh, yeah. Like how many people? How many tables were there? You get the top number?
130 tables, I think.
Yeah, so 1,500 people maybe.
Yeah, it was huge. In the BMO, overlooking the city is gorgeous.
In Calgary here. And Mayor-elect Jeremy Farkas was there, and prayer breakfast happens every October. Got some interesting stories about that. The reason why I say Mayor-elect, because there is sneezing is well-timed, Jeremy.
2 shows.
Spot on. Are you only doing this during the citizen recordings? Just storing it up all morning.
This is 2 shows in a row. Oh, thank you. They muted my mic. Wow, that's the team's on it.
They are
2 shows in a row where I've sneezed. Yes, Mayor, you're right, because there's a recount. And it was funny because the intro actually said that about Jeremy Farkas.
Yeah. Mayor-elect, and that might be his first and his last as mayor coming up. Anyways, there's a recount going. Want to get to that because something very funny. Stay tuned. It was almost like God intervened for a quick moment during this prayer breakfast. We'll tell you about it in a couple minutes.
Seriously, it's
we'll get to that.
huge and insane, and
we'll get to
we're going to get to it.
We're going to also talk about Prime Minister Mark Carney did a national speech last night. Was it last night? It was last night, I believe. And addressing the nation. Yeah. Lots of comments on that. We'll have to dive what that means. I think the Coles notes on that.
It was frustrating.
Meh.
Yeah, it was very...
Was it really deserving of a national speech to address the nation for...
For nothing. Yeah, there was literally nothing there. There was nothing to get from it, nothing to walk away from, no hope, no clarity, nothing.
So we'll get to that, and there's a couple others I do want to get to. We'll see if we actually get to it.
Before we go there, can I show something that we bumped into the other day?
Do it. Yeah.
It's
do it as you're bringing. This is.
I hate that I love it, and I think you might understand why. But
is this the wonders of AI?
This is,
and maybe some of the positive notes that's coming through.
I'll see.
What are you bringing us to?
This is Akon, AI, don't matter, Motown. Oh gosh.
Can you share it?
Oh yeah, here.
Let's get the proper audio going. Yeah. We in our family chat, it's been going off about what songs did we used to love and AI making it Motown. There's like 50 Cent in the club.
Oh, there's all the old classics. Here's
so good.
So this is Akon, Don't Matter, which the normal song, if you know the normal song, is like very fast.
Just sit back and enjoy.
And so this is like, there you go. Oh gosh. I don't want to see us together, but it don't matter. No. It's way too good.
Give me one more though. Not the 50 Cent one. Give me the other one.
The California Love.
Oh jeez. This is so good
it's
too.
It's wild, guys.
We are going to get to the good stuff, you guys, as you're listening, but we hope that this gets you in a happy mood as we move into maybe some more depressing topics of some stats. The harmonies. So good. So good.
This is going to bring Motown back. I honestly think. Yeah. I hope it does. The younger generation will be like, what is this gold?
Yes. Is there copyright issues with this,
There's
Paul? Can
gotta
we
be.
make this our
All
new
of
theme
AI
song?
is copyright issues.
Can we open and close our shows with that legally?
Yeah, no
How does that
kidding.
work?
I have no clue. But AI that's a huge fight for
So
AI.
good, man.
And the reason I say I hate that I like it is that it's a computer impersonating a person, and it's good. And that's the part where I'm like, oh, I don't know.
It's great, man.
Maybe it'll raise the bar. I have no clue.
All right, we talked about Mark Carney as well. One other thing, in short little news today is Naheed Nenchi's first day taking his seat in the legislature in Alberta as official leader of the opposition and MLA for Edmonton Strathcona, even though he voted in the Calgary election. He literally was picturing himself voting in the Calgary election, but MLA for Edmonton Strathcona. So he's in there. We're going to see more of him and Danielle Smith. I was talking with a friend this morning, Fatine, and she does a lot of work in the ground game for politics and door knocking and advocating for different ridings. She was telling me, I'm not sure if you guys knew this, but when Danielle Smith won to become the premier of Alberta, I'm sure people remember it was a narrow margin, but they didn't maybe realize how narrow it was. I think there was 5 or 6 ridings that won. But what Fatine was telling me, when they break it down to the amount of votes, it was such a slim margin in each riding. It was a total of about 2,500 votes divided by 5 ridings, 6 ridings, give or take, that actually got her into where she is. That's how tight it was from being NDP. And Albertans, people who want to see maybe like Danielle Smith and conservative views and what they have to do, that's how tight it was. Like, it's not just
voter turnout
a naturally
so pathetic,
conservative
typically.
All the time, right?
Even Calgary's election was, I think, record low.
Like in since 2006 or
something like
2008,
that, which is
very
just
low.
So stupid.
Yeah, honestly, I think we got to shame the citizens who haven't done that. I don't think you're just, hey, heads up, if you don't go to vote, you're not worthy of the title of citizen.
Yeah, it's just insane.
Just so you know,
what are we doing?
David's thoughts, maybe Jeremy.
No, I
agrees.
fully agree with you.
It's your civic duty. It's
so
your
sad.
responsibility. If you don't vote, you have no right to complain.
100%.
Zero right to complain. In fact, if you hear people complaining about the politics of the nation, the city, the province, did you vote? And they say no, shut up.
Yeah. We should have an auto response on our citizen comments when they're complaining. Did you vote? No. Delete.
Yeah, exactly. Let's set
Gone.
that up, Paulie.
You don't have a voice.
Did you vote?
See you later.
No.
But I don't get it. I'm just floored. I don't know why.
Yeah, I know.
Like, where are people? Why are they living under rocks? Like, what are we doing? I just don't get it.
Legit, you don't have a right to complain. That is one of the greatest ways you can actually express, especially when it comes to municipal elections. Federal, it's all very important, but you can have the most impact in direct change in your world, not only in municipal elections, but by getting involved in your community organizations, talking with your counselor, getting to know them personally. I've already reached out to my new counselor in Ward 14, Landon Johnson, because I want to get to know the guy. I want to. It's interesting. He's the one who did Recall Gondek a while ago, but I want to get to know him. I want to influence him.
You know, on the night we had a bunch of people over for Thanksgiving dinner. He knocked on my door that day.
No way, did he?
I missed it.
Shoot.
And like the kids answered the door. I guess there was a bunch of older kids who answered the door. And he was asking to come in, and I never got to it. And I was like, dang it, I would have brought him in.
One of his other guys knocked on my door maybe like a week or 2 beforehand. But anyways, I'm just like, that's important for us. Like,
for sure.
I digress.
You just have to get involved. There's just no excuse anymore. And I would think in today's day and age of social media, podcasts, awareness, that voter turnout would go up and up and up and up. But it seems like it's not. I just don't get it. I you know what I'd be really curious about is if someone could do a study about immigration votes versus non-immigration votes, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Is there a way to distinguish that?
I bet you
I'd be very curious.
for sure, and I bet you Frontier, even Cardis, some of the other guys might have something on it already, because this was part of the issue in Pierre Poilievre's riding that was brought up in regards to, again, just trying to remember how it went. Don't quote me on this, but we've had record immigration for sure 6 straight years in Canada, longer. It hasn't curbed yet, even under Carney, right? We've been seeing all of these other waves that people are coming in. You can't vote in Canada until you're a citizen, but there's a process, and some people, we know people, it's taken our friends from Ukraine.
Years.
6 years, 5 years they've been waiting to do it the proper route. But there's also other people who have been going through faster. But I want to make sure I'm saying this right. Comment section, come after me if I'm totally off on this. But placing immigrants in certain areas in terms of housing, all that kind of jazz, that actually helps dilute voter turnout for those areas. There's been a lot, again, I'm hesitating.
Sure. There's no question.
But in terms of strategy for Liberal government to make that happen a little bit easier inside. Anyways, I thought that happened to Pierre. Did it not?
No, it sounds something like that.
Diving deep into my memory banks to try to pull that up.
What you're pulling from, and again, speculative, I don't have the hard data in front of me, but what the speculation is that the Liberals would bring a lot of immigrants in and put them in key battlegrounds, and the battleground people would essentially, because they were brought in by the Liberals, they would typically vote for the Liberals, and so that would dilute the battlegrounds, and that it would make a strong presence for the Liberals. So again, speculation, I don't know, but that was what a lot of the talks was in the federal election of Carleton, where he lost. Right.
Paul just texted saying immigrants are less likely to vote in Canada.
No, I know. That's my point I'm making. Is I'm curious, like, as our population climbs at record speeds, as our is it increasing the population and turning and bringing down the overall percentage of vote?
I see.
That's what I'm curious about.
One other thing before we get into the deeper stuff, I saw it. Paul, you're gonna have to edit just so you can see the proper tweets, because there's a giant F Trump comment below. You can see on the screen there. I have my screen sharing, but it's not what I want to read. What I wanted to read was Theo Fleury was replying to Troy Westwood. Remember the name Troy Westwood? CFL? Was he a quarterback?
Yes.
Was he a bomber?
He was.
I think he was. Yeah. Anyways, he wrote this
Troy
one day
Westwood,
ago.
That goes back.
So Troy Westwood wrote this. The degree to which Canada has been infiltrated and poisoned with the Trump MAGA mentality is beyond sad and pathetic. I truly thought we as Canadians were smarter and better than that. Former athlete, Theo Fleury, Calgary Flame, replied back, the degree to which Canada has been infiltrated and poisoned with communist, authoritarian victimhood mentality is beyond sad and pathetic. I truly thought we as Canadians were smarter and better than that. And he goes, there, I fixed it. So
can you read Troy's again one more time?
The degree to which Canada has been infiltrated and poisoned with the Trump MAGA mentality is beyond sad and pathetic.
What does that mean? Give me words.
I'd love to have him on and discuss that, because but the reason why I wanted to show that is you look at these two guys who come from athletics and a background, and they both are Canadians. And I think that is they represent a broader spectrum in Canada of look how far apart their opinions are.
Yeah.
You have one guy, and they're not dumb men.
Yep.
They're both accomplished men, right? They both, for the most part, I don't know them personally at all, but looks like they've done decent in their lives.
The people where I've taken to task on the Trump stuff, and that's why I ask, what do you mean? Is because I have to find a person who can articulate the bigoted, racist terms that they say he is. They will so quickly throw out those terms. They'll call him a Nazi. They'll call him a racist, a bigot. And you go, what did he say specifically? And you just try to flesh it out. I'm not saying I'm like a pure Trump. I'm just going, if you're throwing those terms out, you should be able to back it up. And I have yet to find a single person that does. Even online, they go and do these parade interviews and try to go, so what things specifically has he done that's been racist? All the things. What things? Can you give me one sentence, anything, name it? And they just can't. And it's essentially, they just don't like his presentation, his communication. They think, which I get, of course. Yeah, he's not, like, I get it. But it's kind of like, it's kind of just this, like, what do they call it? Trump derangement syndrome.
Yeah.
And I know that's kind of like
TDS.
Yeah, TDS. But it's seriously, it's a thing where it's like they just love to hate him, and that's it. It's blind, and they don't want to find the reason. They don't care about the logic. And that's a giant marker, like, where you're like, that's bad.
Yeah.
Because, like, you look at the differences in the responses. Westwood goes and just labels a vague something about Trump.
It's a vague,
very vague,
paint all with one brush type broad
Fleury
stroke,
and actually names it victimhood, and he actually went after victimhood very clearly. So they're very different. And again, I find you're right. These two worlds are
the growing separation within our country of how people are thinking, and what influences them, and how vocal they become, which is good to be vocal, but there is such a gap between those two perspectives. It actually would be a lot of fun to get Theo
That'd be sweet.
and Troy on the show
That'd be amazing.
at the same time. Paul, mark it. Let's talk about that later.
The thing that I would say I'm willing to predict, and maybe I'll be proven wrong, is that people who are typically liberal, they avoid the deep data, the deep conversations. Like, did you see the whole video that Bill Maher did?
Yeah.
And he was like, he goes, by the way, we're getting hate for not getting Kamala Harris on. We're getting hate for not getting Hillary Clinton on. And he listed like 20 more. And he goes, do you want to know who has said yes to our invites? And he lists all the Republicans. Yes.
Willing to have the conversation.
And he was essentially saying, he's like, the right is willing to come and talk and deal with it and take it like a man and just be embarrassed or be questioned. And he goes, everyone on the left says no. Everyone. They were, and he goes, I'm a liberal. And they still won't come on my show. This is Bill Maher talking. So it's like, it's a weird trend I find on the left versus the right, is that they're growing further apart. The left doesn't seem to go in the nitty gritty. And when, this is my opinion, this is what I've witnessed, even in arguments I've had with people, when I bring articulate, factual responses, it goes into bully, demeaning, and hateful. Like, it literally just goes into this like anger. And then the conversation is done.
And I truly think it's because to avoid left-right symbols or labels, but right really, when it comes down to what people label as the right now, common sense. I'm open for dialogue. I want the best for this country, and it comes from a place of conservatism, not the conservative party. Not to be confused with that. Conservatism, which is we want to preserve and conserve what has actually made us great up to this point. But then you've also, and Bill Maher is the biggest proponent of this. He goes, the left is not me. Yeah. Former liberal, like a JFK liberal, which has got a lot of
changed over the years. They've morphed.
But it's become a crazed ideology that there is no, even though they preach tolerance, there actually is not tolerance. Because if you think different than me, I'm going to shut you up. And I actually don't even want to hear what you have to think. And when you do that, you actually are a threat, what the left liberals or the Democrats have always called about Trump, a threat to democracy. No, the actual threat to democracy is shutting down actual conversations and not listening to the other side and just being an echo. And both sides have guilt in that for sure of being echo chambers. But that's why I wanted to bring that up, because that is such a danger, and it feels like a gap that keeps widening, and I don't know how to stop it other than having conversations and trying to come back together. I think in our own worlds, you and I are really good at engaging and talking, but generally across the nation, it's not that. It is such a far cry from being close and actually coming together. Like, it used to be a thing about, hey, who's a good leader that can walk the aisle or can cross the aisle, meaning they can have relationships on both sides. You don't have that anymore. And that's become our biggest issue, is that it's just, and that's why you see Alberta's separation sentiment growing, because they don't want to cross the aisle. Maybe they've reached out. Maybe Danielle Smith, maybe she's going to pay a price for this by trying to walk the middle road of saying, I want a unified Canada, but I'll respect what the citizens want, but I still want to figure a way with Ottawa. But she's going to pay the price from those people who want to separate. And the people who separate think, well, they've lost all hope with that. Like the Jeffrey Raths and these guys, they've lost all hope, saying that's done. And fair enough. Like, I can get that point. At what point do you actually give up on something like that? That's a tough call.
And it gets even worse to what we were saying just before this, was when the conversation is diminished, squashed, or crushed through bullying tactics. And that's the part that I find that's why I feel like it's getting further and further and further, is because when the conversation is actually happening, and if like, look at what an idea of a conversation is. You're trying to communicate something and arrive somewhere together in this dialogue. And that's the whole point of a conversation. You're trying to go like, are we, oh no, okay, how about, and you land the plane somewhere. But when it turns into, shut up, enough, knock it off. No, you're hateful, you're bigot, it's labeling names, and it's like, you just killed the conversation. We can't even arrive at an idea or a thought. And if that keeps happening on a grander scale, that's where we get two camps that are not talking, worlds apart.
We could argue we've probably already arrived at that.
Oh, for sure.
In so many instances. But just wanted to wrap up the Trump comment too, because I brought that up not specifically for the MAGA comment, but what that more represents, that you see people that will paint everything that has to do with this idea of conserving, preserving, fiscal responsibility, closed borders, like these type of things that typically you want in good nations, but they paint as just a mega movement. Yeah. And it's like, okay, you're doing so much disservice by throwing everything. It's throwing the baby out with the bathwater. And I get it if you have problems with Trump. I get it if you have problems with Pierre Poilievre, with leaders that represent a certain type of way of thinking. But we have to be able to break it down into the actual issues. Like, for example, like ICE and deportation in the U.S. is a giant thing. And people are up in arms because of the human aspect. And you've got real people that are... it is so complicated and clean. But I try to break it down this way. Let's back up from the very beginning. Do you want people coming into your country illegally? Let's just full stop.
But it's not about that for them.
No, but that's my point, though.
I know.
Is that typically is where you have these separation in ideas and people who have left what used to be the left end of the scale of politics. It's become a warped ideology that is no longer actually about rule of law. It's about, it eventually gets down to anarchy. It's emotion, it's all that stuff, but you follow the trail, it's gonna lead to anarchy.
But there's delusion at the head of it. And that's like, even when I was in Nova Scotia, I bumped into a complete stranger. And we were just small talk. Somehow we got onto world politics. And then he's somehow, not Trump, the United States came up. And then he just went, and then he went into immigration. And he was like, yeah, they're complete xenophobes down there. And I went, what makes you say that? He goes, what makes you not say that? And I went, no, really, what makes you say that? How are they xenophobes? And he's like, well, they're just deporting everyone. I went, no, they're deporting illegals. That's not xenophobe. Like, a xenophobe is anyone who does not want anyone to come in and they want to protect their own race. And I'm like, they have a lot of immigration, tons, actually, huge. They're getting rid of illegals who are taking advantage of the system. And he just got pissed off with my logic and didn't want to have a conversation. And just immediately like, and I'm like,
you know what
in the heck is going on?
It's so easy, maybe not for us, for a lot of people, to fall for slogans and not go deeper to say, what does that actually mean? Like, if you look, when you're talking about immigration, if you look at Europe is in serious trouble in terms of immigration. The countries that had beautiful cultures and that had beautiful cultural identity, whether you want to go in Spain, Greece, Italy, even a bit more Eastern, London, you look at the United Kingdom. I'm saying when you have got uncontrolled mass immigration, is that your with no assimilation. Okay, no. When you have uncontrolled mass immigration, you are going to lose your cultural identity.
No question.
It is done. But guess Canada has had this issue and is seeing this issue. I'm not sure if you've seen videos surface in the last couple of days, but obviously with the amount of immigration we have a lot of people that have been coming from India and other countries. And I think there's giant Diwali, I think I'm saying that right, festivals the other day. And anyways, I'm saying if you don't have assimilation, other cultures get imported into what your culture is. You need to have assimilation when you're having immigration. My point is that when you have uncontrolled immigration, you're going to lose your identity. And they mask this with this slogan of diversity is our strength.
Which is so insane.
I just want to say diversity is our strength is the biggest load of BS you could ever swallow. Unity is our strength is actually what we should be promoting. What is diversity? If you're focusing on diversity, we are focusing on the things that make us different.
Which makes absolutely
How do you
sense.
get strength out of purporting the things that make us different?
Imagine if that was the NBA slogan. How good would basketball be? Like, think about that. Diversity, meaning find different. So you got LeBron. You got LeBron James, and then we need something different. We need something different. So just find a short, skinny little bald guy to play next to LeBron James. How good would that game be if you kept doing that for all the players on the team?
Are we allowed to bet on it?
You know what I mean? It's like diversity is our strength. It's in that situation, it's weakness. Let's do that on a surgical team. You need a life critical surgery. Diversity is our strength. Let's pick diverse people, completely diverse. Nothing in there is including their skill set, their training, their history, what they've done, who they were trained by. I don't give two craps how diverse they are. I want to know how good they are. I couldn't care less.
Yeah.
Like, and that, so like the fact that it's our strength makes absolutely
But that's what I mean. People fall for that stuff without actually going a step further and thinking, what does this mean? Now, don't take me off in the ditch here. Is that what I'm saying is that we will celebrate the ethnicity and the cultural ethnicity that people come from and the heritage. That is beautiful, right?
Yeah.
But when you're coming to a country, the reason why people want to come to a country is because the culture that's been established in that country is attracting people as a place where you can thrive and you can live. So if you want to preserve that culture, which is different than the ethnicity of where people are coming from, you leave the culture behind of your country if you are legally accepted into this country. As you have ethnic diversity, yes, but we need to get really good at assimilating so that you can learn our culture. It's like the culture of a surgical room, right? We don't care what your background is or what country you come from and all that jazz. What we care about is, first off, do you have the skills that's going to help elevate the room that you're in? And secondly, are you going to fit into the culture of what we're trying to achieve here? We're trying to save that person's life. Do you help us with that culture or do you take away from that? The same mentality has to be brought into our country, and especially when it comes to immigration. Yeah. People are coming in. Are you a benefit to this country? Because you want to help people, but you can't help people when you open your country to everyone who needs help, and now you're swarmed by everyone who needs help, and you no longer can help anybody.
You can only help someone when you're in a position to help.
Exactly.
You have to be in a position of strength.
That's why it's important to protect what you have.
And the moment you overhelp to the position of weakness, you now are needing help yourself, and it's a perpetual cycle. So it seems like that basic logic is gone. We don't have that, but that's what we need. Strength. We need to come from a position of strength. It's wild. Even like something worth unpacking later is just someone who we know well, who is a brilliant genius of a person, and has so much to offer in wealth, business, creation, opportunity. Can't even become a Canadian citizen. And it's like, and I know multiple people like that, where I'm like, what is the vetting process?
And not only that, other countries are rolling out the red carpet saying, come to our country.
On down.
Because of what they can bring and how they can help elevate. What a novel idea. Like, who knew?
You know what we should, even when I went to the, what was the ceremony of Canadian citizenship for a friend of ours, I was so let down by that ceremony. It was, the whole time. The whole time I was just like, I just wanted to like plug my ears and be like, I don't associate with anything they're saying here as a Canadian citizen. And
really? Tell me about it.
It was all based on
wonderful friends from Ukraine that finally became citizens after 6 7 years.
It was so oppressive. It was so victimhood. It was the closest thing I could equate it to was a parent scolding their kid who just did wrong and essentially just went like, and you better fix it, and don't you dare. Like, that's the feeling the whole thing was. Obviously done in smiles and
okay, but what
nice music.
So take me through the scene though. You arrived, people who were getting their citizenships, were they all sitting in chairs?
So they're all sitting in they're sitting in their section that they're in, and then the guests are in their own section, and we're all witnessing and sitting beside each other. But the entire thing was...
And someone speaking at the front? Or
there was a judge, and then a lady next to the judge, and talking, and then hitting play on videos, and then it goes to the screens, but it was exactly what you and I were talking about, where I was like, there's so many of these catchphrases that are elusive, that mean nothing, that like we just talked about, diversity is our strength, where we're like, there was about 40 of those in all sorts of different catchphrases that mean nothing, that are basely loosed on somewhat of a virtue base somewhere if you find it in there, but not on any real virtue. And it was like that the whole way through. And the very end of the whole thing, after talking about how many sins were committed in reconciliation and our war and how we took the land and we shouldn't have, and it's not our land. And then I'm like all of that, where I'm like, look at every country in the world. I could go all day on this. It just frustrates me so much. When you start to look into who was the first people here that we took the land from, but when you actually dig into it, who did they take the land from? You know what I mean? You can almost do that for every country in the world. And so are they paying reparations to those people and those people? What about before them? And so where does it stop and start? And what are we doing? And yes, but like all of that is muddy as far as like when one land takes over another, but that's called war, and it's not a great thing. No, absolutely not. But when you go back in those times, but the whole thing was essentially scolding these people. And the very end of it was, there has been great pain brought on by our people in Canada, and it is your responsibility to fix it and to mend it. End. I was like, that's your final statement?
My goodness.
Like, I was like, not, like, it just wasn't powerful, uplifting. Like think about it to your child. Yeah. Even after I reprimand my child, the next thing I do, I go, okay, you know to do better. Fix that. Knock that off. That's not who you are. You're better than this. Man. Then I feed into who they are, and I go, let's talk about my son Ellis.
What a broken system.
If I feed into my son Ellis, I go, Ellis, you are better than that. You're a leader. We set
this is a chance to set vision.
Yes,
into
that's what I mean. Vision
about what our country stands for. Here is what our ideals are. Here is what we want to achieve. Here's how you can be a part of this story of how Canada can actually lift people continue to lift people out of poverty, to help other nations, to bring healing where we need to. Like imagine vision leaks.
Yes,
and if we don't have vision, and that comes from top down.
Yeah.
It comes from top down, and we've been missing that.
Do you remember
who's the last visionary leader we've had in Canada?
Gosh,
Mulroney?
No idea.
Would you call him visionary? I'm going way back there. Definitely not Trudeau. Carney's not that. Before Carney, we had.
I don't honestly know. Like, I'd be curious to dive into like
Harper. Harper was good, but he wasn't. Was he visionary?
Chrétien. Like, I'd be curious to see what these guys all did, because I wasn't old enough to see how they led.
Yeah.
So I'd be very curious.
But visionary is different than. Like,
for sure.
Harper was, Harper was responsible. He was smart. He knows all that. And in hindsight,
you know what I will say?
It's like, great, but visionary is different.
Trudeau was a visionary.
You think so?
I think.
I know you can be positive or negative. I know
that's exactly where I'm going. Whereas I'm going, it was a visionary, but it wasn't. There was no foundation based on it. Is how I feel. I feel like he was painting a vision pandering to his crowd. It's kind of how, with a vision that wasn't necessarily truthful. And so that's kind of the point I'm making. But I get what you're saying too. A visionary leader that brings both parties together and forges ahead and finds unity and finds common ground. No, I don't know.
But that honestly should be the number one job of the prime minister.
For sure.
And then you have your team around you that executes on this vision of what Canada is going to be like. How are we actually going to make this happen?
Yeah.
Because you need people to buy into a vision to create unity. Yeah. And all the things we've been trying to create unity around is creating disunity. Yeah. Did you see Joe Rogan and Andrew Schultz take on land acknowledgement? I just saw this yesterday.
I have seen it.
I'm just going to show it's pretty good. Make sure my volume's up. Apologies for the tech that will happen here in a second.
I think it's funny when governments do these things to like enforce care. Like anytime I'm performing in Canada, like if it's on like an indigenous area, they make me do like a
land acknowledgement.
And I remember the first time they told me, I was like, "You want me to do what?" And they're like, "Yeah, we want you to let them know that this used to be native land." And I'm like, I remember telling it to like the chief of the tribe, and I'm like, "Brother, that kind of seems like I'm bragging." Like I'm going up there and be like, "Yo, this used to be yours, but the boys came in, you know, like, got y'all out of here." Like, you really want me to go and remind everybody what happened before the comedy show?
You know what my favorite part about that is? It's a land acknowledgement, but also saying we're not giving it back.
Yeah, we're not doing anything.
We stole it, but it's ours now.
So what do we do? Who are we doing this for?
Sorry. We're going to acknowledge the fact that we're on stolen land. But the thing is, these people that go along with that are also the same people that want no borders. And no one's illegal being anywhere. Like Christopher Columbus is the only immigrant they hate.
That's hilarious.
Yo,
it's like there's no borders.
Bit, like,
no one's illegal.
Hey, listen,
but these people shouldn't have been here.
We let a Spanish-speaking guy into America once. Went great.
You're just
can't see any problem with that.
Like that's what we're talking about. It's virtue signaling at its finest.
It is
absolutely.
And every time I hear it, and there's this thing I've been a part of for a while, and you hear it every conference you go to.
I know.
And every time I want to shout out when they acknowledge it, then do something about it.
Yeah.
Like it literally is just and most people when you say that, do they? I'm gonna ask some of my good friends who are.
It makes no sense.
Okay. Anyways, I don't want to go too far in that. But I laughed pretty hard when I saw that. Should we get to Carney?
No, I would like to get to Jeremy first. Jeremy Farkas.
All right.
Okay.
We teased about Calgary Mayor Jeremy Farkas.
Tell me this isn't like God doing something. So Jeremy Farkas, incumbent.
Mayor-elect.
Mayor-elect. And the reason we say that is they're doing a recount. And the recount is very close, within 500 votes. So they're doing a recount. And so they introduced him as the mayor-elect. And so he's coming up, shakes hands.
At a Calgary Christian leader prayer breakfast.
Yeah. 1,500 people there, packed room, BMO, overlooking the city. And he gets there and he starts about a sentence, maybe 2 sentences in, and he kind of makes a quick joke and then starts talking like this. And all of a sudden, boom, the entire building's power goes out. It wasn't a breaker. All the lights, all the speakers, all the screens, everything just goes black. Microphone, everything.
Done.
Everything's black. People start looking around, and all of a sudden the thing goes whoop,
4 or 5 seconds maybe.
Boom, power's back up. And then it takes a while for the amp and the speaker and the mic, and he's trying to talk, and no one can hear him. And everyone's just like, oh my gosh. And then all of a sudden his first comment out is, well, maybe I'm a bad omen at a Christian prayer breakfast. Where I was like, maybe, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
And so everybody, like, from that moment on, you could just like be like, does this mean something? I don't know. And then what was even more wild to me was that I don't think he knew who he was talking to.
No, it was a little tone deaf.
Extremely tone deaf.
The speech was fine in talking about transparency and lower tax, like typical stuff like that he ran on repealing.
Just super basic.
Yeah, super basic. And looking forward to working with his counselors and blah, blah, blah. But then he ended up.
Yeah. Then he prayed for Sikhs, like not praying for them, but included them in his like. Sorry, no, he didn't pray. He alluded to the fact that Sikhs, Hinduism, Buddhists, Muslims are all aligning in the same truth together with Christians, and that they have the same truth, and which is not the truth. They're so far apart. They're worlds apart. They don't agree on just about anything. Except
Did he pray though? Like, was that a prayer?
I don't think it was a prayer. No. I think he was essentially just speaking to the fact that it was. And
then he somehow loosely equated that to leadership in office or something. I had a hard time following it, to be honest.
There's a pastor friend beside me, and he literally whispered into my ear, does he even know who he's talking to?
But it's just a funny thing to a crowd of Christian leaders, and now you bring up other faiths, other religions, I should say, and then we can specifically pull out Islam and saying they're all saying the same truth.
Not even close.
What are you talking
Literally
about,
worlds apart.
And I thought that was crazy.
So that concerns me. Like, it's virtue signaling. It's trying to just
and you're in that mode, but you're also so predisposed to where you can't just talk to Christians about the importance of Christianity. You have to bring up all the other faiths because you don't want to make people feel left out, or you're afraid of being criticized.
I was surprised to see him there, to be honest. Like, I really was surprised to see him there. I was like, oh, like I think
they typically get mayors out to that. I've been to one years ago off Stephen Ave, like 7 years ago. I remember, and then she being there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think so. Don't quote me on that.
I'd be curious on all the speeches. I'd like to see them side by side.
They all blend together in different meetings and stuff you go to. But
for sure. But anyway, that was having the power.
Yeah, he walks up, his grand moment. He's mayor-elect, and 1,500 people about to make a speech at a Christian, and all of a sudden, all the power goes out.
World-class facility, like boom, power's
out. The facility's unreal.
Yeah, like it's just gorgeous.
That was very funny.
It was crazy.
So that's Calgary's current mayor. I want to show you Edmonton's new mayor.
Oh no.
You all ready for this?
I don't know.
Where I need that Paul throwing that music there. I didn't mean to do that. Y'all ready for this?
Oh, I was just about to give you Motown.
Give me Motown. This is I'm trying to connect to our
I'll get it.
Series.
Go fast, I can go.
No, I'm fast. I'm here. Here we go.
Oh, I have it.
Here we go.
What is a 15-minute city? It's something that's so convenient. Everything is going to be within 15 minutes of you. You're not going to have to worry about traffic because people won't need a car. And when we say 15 minutes, we mean a 15-minute walk, not a 15-minute drive. We want you to live in an area, a district, where everything that you need is a 1.5 kilometer walk in every direction.
Oh my word.
Now I want to show you something on the map here. So Edmontonians, let me know what you think. Did you vote? Also, very low turnout in Edmonton. essentially what, I'm not sure if you knew this, but Calgary, a city of 1.3 million, give or take, right? Our mayor, Farkas, we have a new mayor that's had about 90 some odd thousand votes out of a city of 1.2. Understand there's children and a bunch of other people in there, but just think of that representation in there as well.
That's so
Here,
insane.
Edmonton, if you like your 15-minute cities, that red circle in the middle is about 400 acres. That equates to your 15-minute city. You'll no longer need cars. That's your area.
Yeah, no
Enjoy it, everybody. Got to go outside. Got to pull up the social credit and see if you can
see if you
move
got
past
enough
the tolls.
credits to go.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, these guys fly on private jets around the world.
Okay, we got to get. I want to get to Carney real
Jeepers.
quick because this is I'm gonna pull up the right clip here.
Yeah, Calgary was 35% of eligible voters. Edmonton was 30.27. That's sad.
Crazy. Should I try Apple TV again,
Not
or should
even
I just do it
50.
on?
Yeah, try it again.
Do it one more time. So, Prime Minister Mark Carney had a national speech last night in preparation for their budget, which is going to be released, I believe, early November. This is very important, everyone, just so you're aware. We're about to find out exactly how much deficit we are going to increase this year. Even though everyone thought Prime Minister Mark Carney may be more fiscally responsible than Justin Trudeau, he obviously comes from an economic background, running Bank of England, Bank of Canada. The man must know what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't think so.
But here, before you play, and to give context, Pierre Poilievre is calling for them to keep the deficit under 42 billion, but there's experts that are saying it's going to exceed 70 billion in their.
I thought I read 100 at one point.
Yeah, there's some saying 100. Yeah.
So there's a couple things at play here. Again, some people are saying a waste of a national speech, a waste of time because it's promoting basically the same stuff that he's been saying all along. We're going to be spending more. There's more pain points coming, but it's going to do this. So nothing really new whatsoever, but there is some big news he said earlier, which is very important to know. I'm going to play it here. Let's get it rocking.
So because of these advantages, over decades, our economy grew steadily, more integrated with the United States through the free trade agreement of the 1980s, the NAFTA Accord of the 1990s, and eventually USMCA agreement signed in 2018. Canada's trade increased by over 400% during that period, and our economy doubled in size. But this process, this decades-long process of an ever closer economic relationship with the United States, is now over. And as a consequence, many of our former strengths as a country, former strengths more particularly as our economy, strengths based on close ties to America, have become our vulnerabilities.
I want to just pause there for a second. That's a big statement. He said this earlier in his election, just after he's elected. Our relationship with the U.S. as we know it is over. He's saying the trade that we've been, basically he said our economy's grown 400% in terms of proper trade with the U.S. over the last number of decades. But now he's saying it's over. And then he goes on to say what used to be our strengths with the U.S. is now our weaknesses.
Yeah.
So he's setting the stage. That's a major geopolitical shift, which doesn't necessarily make sense because, well, in terms of you see them very friendly with each other. But let's keep listening for a second.
And as a result of that, the jobs of workers in our industries most affected by the U.S. tariffs in autos and steel and lumber are under threat.
So just notice blaming the U.S., just so you know.
Yeah.
That's pointing blame, shifting blame.
And our businesses are holding back investments restrained by the pall of uncertainty that's hanging over all of us.
Okay, so investments. So I want to break this each.
No, it's okay.
We have no new investment coming in for our. We're losing investment. In fact, the Stellantis plant. I'm not sure if you saw this. But they're leaving to go to Illinois. But there's been one of the which plant was it?
I know.
We did a $15 billion investment into some manufacturing plant.
I got it here coming.
And they decided to leave. And guess how much the Canadian tax, your tax dollars, my tax dollars, we invested for this business to grow. And guess what they've done? They have now just invested $14 billion into the U.S. with manufacturing and moving all of their manufacturing down there. My point is, I don't want to shift blame because we're our own problem.
Our relationship with the United States will never again be the same as it was, even though in this new world of protectionism, we have the best trade deal of any other country And we're working
USMCA.
to make it even better still.
So just so everyone, there's a lot there, you guys. Sorry, tech problem. Stop it.
Our economy
It's still going. I can't figure out Twitter. Okay, so let's unpack it. We got to wrap up soon, but a lot to unpack there because.
Wait, is Brookfield his company?
Yeah, that's where he came from. Yeah.
This is crazy. I just threw this into ChatGPT, and I just said, give me the list of the companies that recently moved to the U.S. from Canada in the last little bit, and it number one on the list, Brookfield Assets Management. Yeah. Moved its head offices from Toronto to Canada to New York, from Toronto to New York City in 2024.
They all left.
It's his companies.
Exactly, 100%. He was a massive part of it.
TFI International Incorporated announced February 2025 its intention to remove its stuff from Canada to U.S., citing 70% of operations into the U.S. Later, reversed that decision following shareholder backlash. Oh, okay, so they didn't.
So a quick little update is about 34 minutes of a national speech that pretty much told you nothing new. Sure. It was fear-mongering. It was sober in tone. And essentially what it was saying was we're going to be doing a lot more spending. It was all in the vein of preparing for massive spending, which is no different from where we've been at. And the reason I want to show that one clip is because there's a couple things that are completely at odds with each other with how he's stating. His whole campaign for running for prime minister was elbows up, meaning demonizing Donald Trump for putting America first because it affects Canada, it affects other nations, trying to redo trade negotiations and all that. So he's demonizing that. But at the end of this speech, he says we're in a new position he uses the word protectionism. And you watch the whole context of 34 minutes, he's essentially now saying, along with the United States, the relationship change, we need to put ourselves first. Yeah. So it's picking up this mentality of Canada first, which I am a big fan of. We've always been saying we need to be Canada first. We need to be building the infrastructure, the manufacturing, the oil and gas pipelines, extracting natural resources, having great geopolitical relationships so we can get all of these, the minerals and the rare earths. And we've got so much to offer, except my theory is Mark Carney's not saying that. Yeah. Protectionism in the sense of let's bolster trade with the EU. Let's bolster trade with other nations. Yeah. Let's, instead of shipping with our greatest ally and building a strong relationship which we've prospered with, let's go elsewhere and do more harm to the climate by shipping things across the ocean instead of going right across the border below us.
Significantly more harm.
I'm kind of playing that up a bit, but no doubt that's what's happening, what he's saying. Where the problem herein lies, we don't have investment. We're losing jobs. We're losing manufacturing. We're no longer competitive on the global market. We are losing our best people and immigrating people that don't help our country because we are not focusing on what we can do internally to strengthen what we have and actually make Canada economically strong and not vulnerable to if there is variability from the U.S. side, right? Sure, they can do what they want in figuring out trade, but if we weren't in such a vulnerable position, we actually could have leverage and find a great deal that's a win-win and not be trampled on.
It absolutely blows my mind that we're not developing our own resources at record rates.
Yeah.
We have incredible amounts of wealth in the ground around us in mines and oil, and we don't even refine our own oil, or at least not most of it.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's insane that we're not capitalizing on this, yet we're willing to ship in oil from the other side of the world while opposing carbon restrictions on our current country, yet we ship in from Saudi Arabia. It's just... I know. Ignorance gone to sea. It's literally gone to sea. It's just insane.
I think and to be very critical, I think what he's just reminded everyone with that national speech is he hasn't accomplished anything yet. No trade further negotiations with the U.S. We aren't in a better position. We're not gaining new influence. We're not having new dollars allocated into Canada, right? It's just, we're building homes. The government's building homes that cost them how much per home? So anyways.
Imperial Oil also just announced that they're moving to Houston.
Oh, did they?
Cutting 20% of their workforce and exiting Calgary's headquarters, headed down to Houston. Carbon Engineering, they're heading down to Texas. Ballard Power Systems, headed down to Texas.
Essentially, he's strengthening Canada to be more globally dependent. Yeah. Not the word independent.
Yeah.
You want trade, but you want to be strong on your own. Like you said, if you're strong on your own, you can actually help people better.
You know what I said to you when we were going back and forth about this, and I'm very curious. I don't know what this would mean, what the implications would be, but what if Alberta started trading with U.S. on its own, made its own trade agreement? I'd be very curious.
Well, again, I'd love to know more about what Danielle Smith procured with them. They haven't done specifically, but she was trying to lay down some groundwork for that. We still have to get Jeffrey Rath and Mitch Sylvester from the APP on, because they've been stating, they haven't really said what, but they've been stating they've been meeting with specific people. No, they haven't said specific people, but people within Trump's circle. What does that mean? We don't know. We don't know the level of those people yet, but they're saying that. But also they're an independent group that is trying to represent and push forward Alberta separatism.
Totally.
Because of these things that keep happening in Ottawa, which honestly is continuing to drag Alberta down. And in other provinces, actually not Alberta, all provinces are suffering because of this. And so anyways.
A couple things to watch out for everybody as well is the budget is going to be released November 4th. I believe it's on the 4th. Is that right? Does that sound right to you?
Yep, 4th sounds
So
right.
November 4th, the budget will be shown to all of us Canadians. The other thing that's major talk right now is actually they're talking about, depending on that budget, that there might be a vote of non-confidence.
I know, I saw those rumors circulating too.
So there's a lot of talks on that apparently, because they're saying when Carney went down to the States, there was nothing gained again. He sat next to Trump in the Oval Office with no presentation, no stance for Canada, nothing to gain. And so the Conservative Party is absolutely hammering him in the House of Commons, just saying like, what was the point? Why should we send you next time? Like, why are you going?
You know, it's funny. I've been doing some segments with Brian Lilly lately, and we just talked about, what's today? Just this past week, about travel. Yeah. Because Mark Carney's traveling a lot, but his trips are long and extended. He's going to Europe lots, and whereas Donald Trump, he travels lots too, but his trips are literally in and out.
18 hours.
He came to Kananaskis and he left early because he had business to attend to. And it's almost like that mentality is like, I got to get home and make our country great. Yeah. Whereas the long extended travel and extra trip and all that stuff, I'm not saying either's right or wrong, but I'm just saying it shows where desire is and desire to actually build. Do you mind if I show just one reaction clip to the, because this is from CTV News on Vassie's show. And Scott Reed is the guy that's responding, who's typically a guy that supports liberals more often than not. But here's his response to Mark Carney's speech.
Scott, we were talking in advance about kind of what objectives from a strategic perspective as well as a content perspective that the Prime Minister might have. How do you think the delivery of that speech matched up to what you thought it should be about?
Imperfect. Look, it showcased the Prime Minister's comfort and ease when it comes to articulating geopolitical issues, macroeconomic issues, the big forces that are shaping and reshaping our world right now, his easy command of policy matters, his comfort. But if the purpose of the speech was to tell us what we need to know unmistakably about the budget, what its anchoring priorities are, the key takeaways from the budget that will come down on November 4th, I'm not certain I understood what he was trying to tell us. I mean, is it about doubling trade to countries other than the United States over the course of the next decade? That's what the budget's about. Is it about balancing an operating deficit, which is a brand new concept that wasn't defined in the speech and is not defined in any objective sense, and why that matters and how that's an engine for growth? It was in front of a group of students. We were told this was going to be about on a generational appeal. I didn't hear anything that seemed in the most narrow sense, the most sort of tactical sense, targeted toward that audience. So I still don't know, is this budget going to be about austerity, about sacrifices? Is it about dealing with Trump and trade? Is it going to be dealing with growth? I am not crystal clear on what the Prime Minister wanted us to understand about the budget that's coming, and he took 30 minutes to not tell me it.
It took 30 minutes to not tell me.
Yeah. No, that's
Anyways,
exactly it.
It's just, interesting stuff. That's going to be very important because this affects your life, our life. Economy is everything. Everything stems down from the ability of your money being able to purchase, having purchasing power, the job availability, opportunity for your kids, for my kids. What is that going to look like? What are we investing in that's going to pay off down the road? But we're just increasing debt and deficit. and hurting relations with an economy that's actually helped our economy over the years. So anyways, sobering stuff for sure. And again, I think we're in the same position we have been, where you feel leaderless in real change happening. And that's why we're such proponents of citizenship and having these conversations and being willing to talk with the other side and people who think differently and listening to them, trying to see, do they have a good point in there? What can we take from it? But then also, like, that's so vital. I know it's rare, but it's vital. Should we wrap?
We should wrap, but I feel like there's other things that we need to dive into as far as Canada Post and the teacher strike.
Oh,
but
yeah,
maybe
teacher strike.
Maybe you unpack that with Brian. I don't know.
Yeah, you know what, may have to. I did a little bit of research on that, and I do think it's more political than
it for sure
coming
is.
out being.
There's something underlying there.
There's a lot of wonderful. We had a couple of principals and teachers who reached out to us saying, "I just want to have they didn't want to come on the show, but they want because of fear of persecution within the ATA." Literally, I'll show you the paragraph. He said, "Hey, I want to." He actually seemed very balanced. There's things on both sides, right? But I want you to get it from my perspective. He's quite involved, but he goes, "But I don't ask him. Would you come on the show?" And he said, "I don't want to for fear of that." And there's definitely a massive political side going on here. There's a lot of wonderful teachers and principals who are caught in the middle, or maybe they just aren't aware of all of that, or I was looking at the deal that the Alberta government gave, and I actually think it's a great deal. You got a great pay increase. Yeah, I know you haven't been paid for a while. A lot of people in Canada are actually making less than we were. Did you know that from 2014 to now is that the average employee, we are having 84% of investment per employee in Canada, meaning we are getting less investment per employee in Canada than we were 10 years ago.
Wow.
That's a massive stat. So
for sure,
everyone's in the same boat, you guys, when it comes to that. Classroom size, they didn't put caps. That's a major sticking point.
Yeah.
But the question you have to ask yourselves, then give us a solution. If you're putting 3,000 new teachers, 1,500 EAs, more money over the years, like there's a lot of stuff, new schools being built. There's lots of stuff to help, but they didn't like the cap on classrooms. Yeah. But the question is, we have a growing population.
We don't have the capacity.
If you have a cap on it, what are you going to do with the students who need to get into school?
Like even, for example, I went digging into what the future development plans for schools are in Calgary. There's 16 schools to be built in the next 2 years.
Yeah.
16, which makes me, I have so many more questions on
and they're
funding,
expensive,
money,
and it's long.
Property. Where's
Our
it all
crew,
coming
we're building
from?
a school right now.
Yeah.
We understand what it takes.
Oh, yeah.
Like literally in the middle of a school build.
For sure.
And we're doing it more efficiently than the government is. And the solution is not just build more schools, because there's a ton of, yes, we want more schools, but there's a lot, like you just said, there's a lot behind that to actually get that into practice. So I actually thought, I'm going to go on record, I thought it was a good deal. I thought they should have taken it and tried to play ball, get kids back to school. And you know what?
Yep.
Put a thing in there. This is the deal we're going to take, but let's renegotiate in 2 years. We'll take the 12% increase. We'll take this. Great, thank you. Now let's revisit the table in 2 years about classroom sizes. Like
the other
stuff in like
the
that.
other thing I have a problem with is the fact that we saw all this coming and how reactionary all of it is. We knew what our immigration numbers were, and we knew how many students a year were coming into our country. We knew what the province was letting in, and we're bursting at the seams. Like, how come we couldn't assess the student numbers, the teacher wages? How come there couldn't be plans to figure this out? Now we're blitzing 16 schools in 2 years. Like, that's 24 months. That's almost one every month and a bit. Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
Like, it's so reactionary. There's no foresight. What in the world? Like, that's why, like, even when you talk about our private sector, we saw it coming. We planned the school years ago, the one we're doing
5 years ago.
Years ago. And when it opens, it'll be right in time, perfect for that, allowing for growth. And you know what else we did on this project? And this is because we're very closely to the project. The project has the ability to expand on the current build with piles and foundation pre-poured for expansion, because it's thinking
if we decide
ahead.
We need to go large.
We can add close to, I think, 47,000 square feet like that. No digging, no piles, already ready to go. Build. Just go up. Like, the difference of private versus public. It's just, they're worlds apart.
So you're going to buy your next home that the government of Canada built? We got to go. We got to shut it down.
Last thing I want to say.
Okay.
Nationwide strike for Canada Post has been on and still on since September 25th. They're still on strike.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And they're still losing $10 million a day. if not more. Actually, maybe
Well, they're gonna have to backpedal
back
their
pay,
people.
so they'll have a big day.
So they're still
and
losing
lose
it.
a lot of money.
Anyway, we'll get back to that.
Thank you, guys.
Citizen.
Show goes on.